Hi guys, the submission deadline for the jam has just finished. So the last video that I posted, I recorded that last night. It was probably around 20 hours ago. So I've actually done a lot of work on the game today, but sadly I am nowhere near finished with it, and I've had to submit something which is highly unfinished and a little bit buggy. So I'll show you what I've got anyway. So this is the gem. I'm quite surprised at how few entries there were, because there were over 300. Oh, it doesn't say anymore, but there were over 300 participants and there's only 38 entries. And my suspicion is that it's because of the Halloween theme. I mean, I certainly found it very challenging. So my game is this one over here, Sugar and Shadows. I changed the name from Treat the Streets. I thought it was a bit, don't know, a bit corny. I didn't like it. So I'll show you what I've got at the moment. One thing about this jam, actually, I don't know how well the ratings are going to go. This is something I haven't seen before. So I've clicked on a game that I like the look of, which was this Hallows Eve Helper, and it said you're not actually allowed to rate it. You have to view your queue, and then you click on that. You've got to rate 30 games of their choosing before you can submit anything else, and there's only 38 entries anyway. And I remember when I did Astroworlds, I rated 78 games over a few days, and it was utterly exhausting. And I had a huge problem with it because one of my problems is that I am not good at sort of arcade games. Things like platformers, I suck at. I can't stand them. And what I was happening with Astroworlds is that somebody would rate my game and I'd feel obligated to rate theirs. And I made the conscious decision after that that I wasn't going to do that. I was only going to rate games that look interesting to me. And so, of course, I can't do that here. So I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, there's certainly no way in hell I'm going to go through and rate 30 games that I'm being picked for me of any genre. And some of them I can't even play in the browser. There's only 25 games here that are playing browser, which means 5 of them I'd have to download. I'm just not doing it. So I probably won't be able to rate anything at all unless they change that somehow. But anyway, I don't really care about ratings. I wanted to make an uplifting game, and that I think I have achieved. And I've still got a lot more work to do. So here we are. So this is the new sort of starting screen. This is now the village screen. So I was able to do what I wanted to do. I can't remember if I mentioned this in one of the previous devlog videos. Another thing to mention is that I have also been recording another set of videos which are kind of like the behind the scenes implementation, and I will be releasing those later on. So they are pure kind of like looking at the code, how it's done, how it's built. For these devlogs, I wanted it to just be kind of like the progress. So you can mouse over any of these residents over here, and all you're going to get is just a load of question marks initially, but you might see one that looks a little bit different, and this is you. So over here it says you saved your pocket money for a big box of treats and you'll share with the villagers, hoping to bring a little warmth to anyone's Halloween night. So this is the kind of the setting. You play a kid who, instead of going out trick or treating, you've decided you're going to get a big box of treats from the bakery and you're just going to share them with your neighbours. So you can't do anything in here until you press this collect treat button. And what that does is it kind of takes you to your house. It's really just the same scene as the other one, but I've just done it slightly differently. And you get 7 cards. You can have a look through them, you can pick them up and drag them around, but you can't do anything here. So the only thing you can do at this point is click this button to go back at the village. So now we've got a basket of treats. It'd be nice if you could click on that and just sort of like see what they are. But now if I mouse over any of the residents, I can sort of click to visit them. So I'm just going to click on Darren. I can't remember what the cards were that I have. So now when you come into this screen, you get a little bit of a panel showing that backstory about that person. And then once you click on this button, you'll be served the same set of cards that you had a moment ago. I could have got rid of the collect treats, but there's a reason why I wanted to do it. So let's have a look. So he's angry. So I'm basically looking for the spider. So there's 5. I haven't had time to do anything in terms of points. So you can just play as many cards as you want and it makes no difference at all. Spider's getting quite small. Is that enough? No, it looks like he's probably got 1 point left there. So if I go back to the screen, the village screen now, Darren should be exposed. So I can still visit him, but now I can see more about him. But all of the others have still got question marks. If I move on to Alicia, give treats. So she's anger. What have I got left? I've got nothing in here with anger. Now this is very buggy. I'm pretty sure that if I come back here now, yeah, I've now got a question mark over Darren again, and he should be revealed. So that's one of the bugs I've got to fix. And we can come and collect treats again. Now at the moment I've got there's no limits of any kind, so you can just go and get a new set of treats whenever you want, and play them. So, and now these are all question marks. So let me go back into Darren and see if, yeah, no, it's reset it back to 0. So I think I know what's going wrong, which is causing most of the bugs. And that's something that I'll talk about in my other videos, the kind of the implementation ones. But if I am, what cards have I got here? I've got quite a few anger cards. If I come back to Alicia, yeah, let's play. Was there a 5? Let's just play everything with anger on it. Yeah, right. So that's now gone. So if I come back here now, there it shows that you've kind of helped Alicia, and this is kind of what I want. So eventually I want to fill this out. So I wanted to have another 4 residents, and what I want to do is have sort of more traumas, not just one thing. And then you kind of go through and you help everyone in the village. And the way I thought about doing kind of at the moment, there's no sort of win condition or lose condition. There's no real strategy to it. What I thought about doing was having like a curfew. You've only got a set amount of time, and I could put like a bar across the bottom, and then every time you go and do a visit, it's taking a chunk off the time, and that would include going back to your house. So that would introduce a slight element of strategy. You can go back to your place and get more treats every time if you want to just reset your card, if you think your cards are sucky. Or you can go through, and the idea is you've got to try and help as many villagers as you can before the end of the curfew or something like that. But anyway, I didn't get time to do any of that stuff. But I'm pleased with what I've got with the game so far. And in terms of like a bit of a retrospective, I like the look of it. I'm really pleased with the artwork that I've got for all of the cards and everything. The houses are a little bit crap. But all of this, I think the cards look really good. But then all of this stuff, the artist is the same. So the artist that did the cards, the treats, the monster icons, it's all the same artist, and that's why it looks quite consistent. And I've got the beginnings here of a basic gameplay loop, and there's certainly a lot more that I can do with it. And doing this jam has given me ideas for future games. So at this point, I think I'm going to do the same thing that I did for Endless Coil. So if I go over to my itch page, so down here I've got a section for jam entries, and I've got the Endless Coil jam entry, and that is the version that I actually submitted to the jam. But then what I did was I almost immediately uploaded another project and carried on working on it afterwards, and I've put in some new devlogs there to finish the game, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm feeling quite burnt out after the last couple of days, but I'm gonna do another project so that I can carry on working with it. And also at this point I've got to decide how I'm going to spread my time, because now the problem I have 2 unfinished projects. I don't know if you've watched any of my previous videos. If I come over to here, what was I working on? Yeah, I was working on Sprite Breaker. So over here I started brainstorming various ideas, and I decided to pick a breakout clone. Then I just randomly did a tutorial over here, but then these couple of videos here are all about this game Sprite Breaker. And then I came across this jam and just stopped working on the breakout game. So now I have 2 games which are unfinished. And this is a little bit of a problem. So I think the way I need to do this, for me personally, I find that I need to be able to kind of immerse myself in a game in order to be productive. And that means I need to work on it consistently for a time. So like at the moment, I'm completely immersed in this Sugar in Shadows game. And if I was to go back to Sprite Breaker now, it would take me a little while to get back into it because I haven't touched it in 2 weeks. But on the same time, if I leave it too long before going back to Sprite Breaker, I'm going to find it very difficult to do so. So I think I need to alternate my projects probably around a week at a time. So at the moment it's Friday. It's a Friday night. I'm out tomorrow and then I'm back at work on Sunday. So basically Sunday for me is the start of the week. That's when I start work. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to leave this game as it is now, let it settle, see what happens with the jam. It'll be interesting to see if they do change the rules, because I really would like to rate some games, but I want to rate the ones I want to rate, not the ones that are being chosen for me. So I'll see what happens there, see if they change anything, but I'll probably just take a break from this game now, go back to Sprite Breaker as from next week, and then probably spend a week at a time, a week on Sprite Breaker and a week on Sugar and Shadows, and just go from there. So this will be the last video in sort of this series of devlogs. I will of course carry on doing these devlogs when I get back to the game, but what I'm also going to start doing is posting the kind of the behind the scenes videos, and I've got quite a few of those. They're not edited at all. I was just kind of like hurriedly recording them as I was working on the game, but obviously I didn't have time to actually do any editing while I was working on the jam. So those will be coming up over the next few days, and then I'll be going back to Sprite Breaker. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Speak to you next time.